I just want to establish I was 16 years old when this first Deadpool movie came out.
Hello, Adam Ryan Donato.
Hello. Welcome back to another Hard Review, and I'm here to talk about the Deadpool franchise today. So the first Deadpool movie came out 2016. This was a huge, awesome success. We had wanted this movie for so long. X-Men Origins Wolverine was such a huge disappointment, and especially the things that they did with Wade Wilson's character there was extremely annoying. But we wouldn't be where we are today without X-Men Origins Wolverine. Deadpool is such an awesome celebration of the superhero genre. We had R-rated successes before. Watchmen didn't really do well at the box office night. They did Kick-Ass, but it showed that we can do the superhero genre R-rated and have it be taken somewhat seriously and be good. Ryan Reynolds instantly became one of the greatest superhero castings of all time. He's so passionate about the character, and I don't think that we would have been where we are today without awesome artists like him. I know that he's kind of controversial in some ways, like not really cancel controversial, but like some people don't like his shtick, some people love his shtick. I am on the side that I love his shtick. I love the suit. I love the romance in this movie. I love, actually now, which is the best villain of the Deadpool franchise, Francis. This is such an awesome, all-time great superhero movie, in my opinion. I love it to death. 2 years later, Deadpool 2 comes out, and I thought it was pretty much a lateral move. I think that this has some higher highs, but I think the first Deadpool movie is more of a cohesive movie. Also, it's really easy to give the edge to the first movie in the franchise just because it's the one that did it first. They're the one that got the ball rolling. They're the ones that introduced us to these characters. They're the one that introduced us to the suit. But there's a lot of fun stuff here. I specifically really love the MTV Unplugged cover of Take On Me. That is like one of my favorite moments in a superhero movie like ever. I'm a big fan of Domino. Cable really feels like they just couldn't get Wolverine yet. But I love a lot of the side characters that are introduced here. Again, I just feel like we really maintain momentum from the first movie. Now, of course, 6 years later, we have Deadpool and Wolverine, which the whole entire marketing for this movie is centered around the Like a Prayer song from Madonna. And I think this is really appropriate in the sense that, like, we wanted this for so long. And not only did we want this, but Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman wanted this for so long. And now Fox Marvel is dead. Now that Logan, we've had enough time from that. And the fact that Hugh does want to come back, it's like, why not give us? This is exactly what we want, right? Now, one thing that I'll say that I don't like about the second Deadpool movie is I do feel like they didn't give us a good ending to transition into a third movie, because we have the whole time travel bit at the end of the second movie, and I think they did a good job of making that the setup of this movie. Like, oh, the TVA shows up and they're like, hey, you're messing up with time. I was hoping there's gonna be a little bit more explanation on why we're at where we're at, why the time jump, where Wade Wilson is at, what does this mean for his relationships with his friends that he brought back, and obviously his girlfriend. And I don't feel like they completely satisfyingly transitioned that plot point into this movie, but good enough to the point where it's like, okay. I think the thing that this movie is focusing on the most, obviously, it's the buddy cop angle. You know, the first movie's a love story, second movie's a family movie, this is a buddy cop duo movie, and we get everything that you'd want with that. You know, you get to see them fight each other several times. It's very graphic. There's a lot of F-bombs. There's a lot of blood and gore and creative kills and stuff like that. I will say, after a while, it kind of got to the point where it was like, you know, you're watching two dogs like fight, and it's just like, they're fine. They're just playing. Because Deadpool and Wolverine can't die, so it's just like, oh, so this fight is like just them like letting off steam. I will say how they handled bringing Logan back was great. I think that they went the right way about it. I can't really say much about this movie, so I'll probably do a spoiler talk after this. I will say that when it comes to the internal conflict in Logan, I think that didn't really connect with me very well. They say in the trailer that this is a Logan from a different timeline and that he let down his entire universe. And that's kind of really what we get in the movie as well. So transition to a completely different Logan who really isn't all that different from the Logan that we know personality-wise. I mean, yes, he's got the suit, but I had a hard time connecting with his character arc because the previous Wolverine I had been on a 10-movie journey with felt like it was wrapped up so well, and there were so many different entries in the X-Men franchise and in the Wolverine franchise where we specifically got to tackle the internal conflicts going on within Logan. I feel like they were done a lot better there, and here it just kind of felt like we were doing the same thing again, and it's like, I've seen this. And also I feel like it hurt the pacing a little bit because Deadpool is such a mile a minute, like he's talking super duper fast. So every time that we cut to Logan, just Logan, or Logan with another person, it was like we kind of grinded to a halt, and I was like, oh, this is kind of an odd dynamic. I don't know, maybe when I watch it in future viewings, I'll connect more with the Wolverine storyline. And yeah, all the fun bickering with Deadpool is everything that you would want, but I didn't connect with him in the way that I wanted to connect with him. Also, this is another bad take, I guess. I understand that nerds everywhere were really excited about the suit, and I think when he doesn't have the helmet on, when it's just like the yellow and blue, cool, looks good, right? When he puts the helmet on, I don't think it looks that great, and my first thought was, well, maybe we made the right call. Hugh Jackman's a good-looking guy, you know, he's a great actor, he's very good at emoting with his face. I like seeing his face. What he wears in the movie kind of looks like a bike helmet. It just felt awkward, and maybe it's just because it was my first time seeing it in action, and maybe when I watch it again, I'll be more accustomed to it, but I'm so used to watching Wolverine's face when he's fighting, and he's such an intense guy too, so seeing an action sequence where we're not focusing on him, where we're not able to see his face, it's kind of weird. And the scene that he does fight with the mask on is very much so not Wolverine like focused, not super emotional fight for Wolverine. So I guess that's the exact opportunity you want to do that in. I was just like, oh, we wanted this for so long, and then we finally got it. And it's like, well, you know what I mean? Another thing people complained about with this movie going into it was that it would just be a big cameo fest. I think the cameos that are in the movie are a lot of fun. There's one specifically that I was begging for, and the fact that they give it to us was really awesome. I feel like I'm the only person who's going to have this take, but I feel like they were pretty restrained. Like, I thought it was just going to be cameos, like one after the other, cameos, and with a big cameo fest at the end. I don't really feel like I got that. We thought, oh, we're going to see Deadpool with this person and be a part of this and everything, and then the end's going to kind of set up where we're going next in the MCU. I don't really feel like this movie does a lot to set up where we're going next in the MCU. If someone had the opinion that this feels more like the swan song than like the start of something new or the shot of adrenaline that the MCU needs, I would agree with that sentiment. I'm really trying to dance around spoilery type stuff. Speaking of character arcs, I said I didn't really connect much with Wolverine's. I also don't really connect much with Deadpool's here. I really like Deadpool's arc in the first movie. I really like Deadpool's arc in the second movie. Here, it just feels very slapped together. Like, you know, it's in the trailer. He wants to be a part of the Avengers, and he's calling himself Marvel Jesus, and he has to team up with Wolverine. But I feel like the time travel aspect at the end of the last movie really just nerfs everything with his personal development. I do think it's a good idea to focus on Deadpool with just Wolverine and in a new world with new characters rather than diving into the bag of awesome side characters from the previous two movies. Because if we're going to move forward, and we need to move forward because of the time travel aspect. The relationship with Vanessa is completely changed because of the time travel aspect. I kind of want to get away from it now. I feel like we've said everything we need to say and done everything we need to do with Wade and Vanessa's relationship. I made this take the other day. I think that Sean Levy is a system director. Now, for you non-sports people out there, a system quarterback is a quarterback who is not the system. He works within the system. He's not this super talented guy who's going to make things happen on his own. He needs to be surrounded by a good head coach and a bunch of good offensive weapons, and he just runs the system. He's a little point guard. He's not doing anything super flashy. He's just giving it to the talented guys around him. But the plays that were made by the talented coach behind him, he is executing that plan. He is not the plan. You know, he's not the engine. So that's how I feel about Sean Levy. And I love some of Sean Levy's movies. Like, I really enjoy the Night of Museum movies. I love Free Guy. Again, Free Guy is one. The idea came from Reddit, and it was definitely more of a Ryan Reynolds vehicle. And I feel similarly about the Night of the Museum franchise with Ben Stiller. So I feel like he can execute a plan. I just wouldn't want him to be the guy running the show. He's kind of like other system directors, I would say, the Russo brothers. I mean, look, within a system, they can do awesome things. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, man, and the Russo brothers directed Infinity War. See what I'm saying? I don't want to see Sean Levy direct an Avengers movie, though. I just would rather not. It's tough rating a movie like this because on the one hand, it's a comedy. It's a big studio comedy, right? And it's very funny. And if it was just a comedy, I'd be like, wow, 5 stars. I laughed the whole time. Some of the hardest laughs of the year from this movie. But it's not just that. It's a superhero movie, which superhero genre is one that I hold so near and dear to my heart, which can be a good or a bad thing for superhero movies. Because either I'm way too nice to it because it's a superhero movie, or I'm way too mean to it because it's a superhero movie and I hold it so close and I have such high expectations. I remember saying, oh, if I don't give Deadpool and Wolverine a 5 out of 5, then it's a failure because it's a movie with Deadpool and that's a character I hold so close to my heart and I'm gonna love it regardless. And in a lot of ways I did love this movie, but I will say that I am gonna give it a 4. I do think it's a step down from the last two. I would give 5s to both the last two. I think if you want to say the second one's worse than the first one, sure, that's fine. But those felt more like Deadpool, and this isn't in a lot of ways trying to be necessarily necessarily a Deadpool movie. It's trying to be a Deadpool Wolverine team-up movie, and so we're not really putting as much investment and time into the development of Deadpool's character as we did in the first two movies. It's very funny. I think the action, and I blame Sean Levy, the action, there's specifically a scene where like a group of heroes raid the place. I was like, whoa, this looks like garbage. I can't tell what's happening. It just seems like a bunch of chaos, and there's nothing really cool about this at all. And a lot of the movie doesn't really look all that great. One thing I love about Deadpool movies is the opening title sequence is usually really fun and creative. We had, the slow motion car tipping over in the first movie, and then we have the Bond spoof in the second one. Here, we have a bit that is done here, but not all of the credit sequence is surrounded by the bit, and the bit kind of feels like it's a separate thing from the credits. So the credits stuff feels like just basic Deadpool credit stuff, but the bit is what really raises it up. But still, I would say that's worse than the last two movies. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome seeing, we talked about Ryan Reynolds being one of the greatest superhero castings of all time. That's Hugh Jackman as well. I mean, maybe performances, because people don't like the casting, because he's not Australian, he's Canadian, he's not short, he's tall, you know what I mean? But seeing these two awesome actors come together, play off each other, give us something, like a prayer. We wanted this for so bad, and we finally got it. I just really love how much this feels like a love letter to 20th Century Fox Marvel. And that's a generation of movies were really important to me. So it got me really emotional at certain points because I'm very nostalgic for stuff. I really can't say much of anything. So just go watch it. If you don't like Deadpool, adding Wolverine is not going to help this much for you. It's very much still a Deadpool movie. It's fun. It's funny. There's really good action in it. Sometimes there's cameos that will have everybody clapping in the theater, and that's great. I think that if you wanted to take someone that was 13 to 17 years old, that's fine. There's bad words and there's references to sexual things. They'll survive. I don't think this is going to save the MCU, but I think it's a solid entry. 4 out of 5. It's my third favorite Deadpool movie. 1, 2, then 3. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for a spoiler-filled video. I'm going to do that. I'm going to record it literally right after this. So thank you. What's your favorite Deadpool movie? And what's your favorite Fox Marvel movie? Mine is Daredevil, the director's cut. It's not, but I just watched that last night with a buddy who had never seen it. It was really, really funny because I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine. I got out of it with the buddy that I watched Daredevil with, and I was like, maybe I'm outgrown some of this superhero stuff a little bit. And then I remembered 24 hours ago, I gave Daredevil the director's cut 5 out of 5 because it's so much better than the theatrical cut.